Hello, this is Beth Carrington with Kata Matters, and I would like to spend a little bit of time with you today talking about the Improvement Kata and how it really helps organizations and individuals link vision, that vague, faraway, principle-based objectives, right down to daily action. Kind of the broad sweeping brush of first understanding vision and challenge that give us direction and purpose, aligns an organization to leadership's objectives. I always think of that as sitting here on the top of a funnel. And then we use the Improvement Kata routines to help bring us down deeper into that funnel, all the way down to daily activity. So we take that vision and challenge, and then we create a desired target pattern with a prediction of process and outcome metrics so that we can recognize what we need to work on. Obstacles that prevent us from achieving target conditions. We choose one, and then we begin daily PDSA cycles to overcome that obstacle, and then we repeat the process. So it's an iterative process. I want to spend a little bit more time talking about this funnel and how, as a coach, whether I'm in the role of a master coach working with a team, or if I'm a second coach working on the development of a specific coach, or even if I'm a coach working on the skill development of a learner, I'll kind of explain how I use this funnel more in depth. So again, I'm going to use a typical 52-week challenge. And the question is, how do we get from this 52-week or more, but typically 52-week challenge, all the way down to daily experimentation, or as close to daily as possible? Well, one of the things we do is we take that 52-week challenge, and these are oftentimes multifaceted, complex challenges that people are striving to achieve, and we bring it down to just one focus process. And then from there, we'll bring it down to a target condition. It's typically about 2 weeks out in front of the learner, what they're striving to achieve. Then they can list their obstacles to that target condition. They select one and move down the funnel to this daily, or as close to daily as possible, PDCA. So here's how I use the funnel, and I'd like you to think about this as you begin to take a 52-week challenge. And what you can do is you want to bring that challenge down as close to daily activity as you can. So take a multifaceted challenge and break it down into just one focus process, one focus area that we're going to work on, and build a target condition around that narrower than the challenge, right? That focus process is a lot narrower. Bring it down deep into the funnel and focus on a process. Develop a target condition, and these target conditions are just 2 weeks out. And the further down the funnel you can bring the target condition, the sharper that target condition can be, the obstacles will be more readily apparent, and you can pick one and then begin daily PDSA. Now, the reason we can do this is, and bring this activity so far into the funnel, is because Kata, the Improvement Kata, is an iterative process. There's, working from the bottom up, there's going to be many PDCA cycles that we're going to take to overcome just one obstacle. And there's going to be many obstacles to one target condition. And there can be many target conditions within a focus process. And there can be many focus processes within a multifaceted challenge. If we start working up here at the broadest part of the funnel, very close to the challenge, what we end up doing is just kind of playing whack-a-mole. We're going to be randomly running across the top of this funnel trying to fix something here and fix something here and do something here. And it gets really hard to recognize if we're outside the funnel. So we want to bring it inside, make sure as a coach, second coach, or a learner, we're inside this funnel and as close to daily activity as we can get. And this unfolding of this Improvement Kata story and then bringing it down the funnel, you can see that when you look at a fully mature Improvement Kata Learner's storyboard. So let's take a peek, and I hope I can share with you my thinking about this. So this is a typical learner storyboard, and this document represents what, as again, a second coach, a coach, or a learner, or a master coach looks for when they see a storyboard. And it starts up here with the challenge, because the Improvement Kata is performed and practiced in service to achieving a challenge. So the challenge is what the learner is striving to achieve. It's multifaceted, desired pattern of work or customer experience or patient experience that we're striving to achieve, that will give us some very specific results. So it's hard metric-based objective, but it buried within that metric is a desired patient customer performance experience. And what we wanted to make sure that what I look for when I look at a challenge is I look for the date that challenge was set, and I look for the achieve by date. And that gives me a guidance on how strategic the learner is. Is that a 6-month challenge that they've been given to achieve, or is it a 52-week, or is it a 3 to 5 year strategic objective? And I like to know that right up front when I'm looking at a storyboard. Then the learner begins the movement down the funnel by just choosing that one focus process, that one focus area. I'm going to be, the learner is going to be striving to learn about and striving to improve, to move the performance closer to the challenge. And so you can begin to see how deep into the funnel the learner is going, as close to daily PDCA as possible, or PDSA as possible, just by looking at this focus process. And now that focus process, within that process, we should begin to establish a target condition. And that, again, it's date-based. We want to see the date the target condition was established. We want to see the date the learner is striving to achieve this target condition. These dates are typically set by the coach based on the complexity of the process, the pace of the process, and the learner's skill. But for a 52-week challenge, this is typically a 2-week target condition. And a really well-defined target condition has 4 elements in it. It starts off with a desired pattern of work, typically described as in the form of a block diagram. It may be a swim lane chart. It could be just a list of steps in sequence, but they do, each one of these patterns of work have the steps defined, the sequence, and the time to perform those steps, and the overall time of the desired pattern of work. The second element of a fully mature target condition is a process characteristic or characteristics. These are new or unique conditions embedded in the desired pattern of work. What will we see that may be new or unique in that desired pattern of work that does not exist today? Some observable fact, some usable tool. It could be a form. It could be the number of people who need to have job instruction training. There's a lot of various types of process characteristics that a learner can identify. The third element is a process metric or metrics. It's a value or values the learner predicts the desired pattern will achieve. This should mathematically or logically relate to an outcome metric. And then the outcome metric or metrics, there can sometimes be more than one outcome metric. Again, the target condition will contain a value or values the learner predicts the desired pattern of work along with the process metric will achieve. So the process metric is a subset. It's a more granular, in many cases, element or aspect of the outcome metric. And the outcome metric is typically related directly to the challenge. And so in all cases, the challenge needs to be related to the focus process, or maybe that's vice versa. And the target condition has to be related to the focus process. And there should be this small triangle that the learner should be able to articulate that connects challenge, the focus process, to the target condition. So here in the center part of the board, we have the actual condition now. And the word now should be emphasized. And so what we want to see is this piece is telling the unfolding of the story as we experiment and make changes to our current condition. On our way to achieving our target condition, we want to update this this section of the board real time. So I would expect to see a description of the current pattern of work with current times, again, the step, sequence, and times, and that's going to be modified as changes have occurred to the current condition. Again, through experimentation, we should begin to see changes to our current condition. The second is the status of our new or unique conditions, or the status of our process characteristics. Third, we should see current and up-to-date process metrics, and typically we'd love to see those in charts. That's my desired condition. And when I look at a storyboard, so I can see how we're trending over time. And we should have that with our outcome metric as well. So our current and up-to-date outcome metric chart or charts. Again, and we can have the axis be time, and the Y is the metric we're tracking. So we can see, are we going up as we expect, or are we just maintaining variation that we've seen since the beginning of our practice against this specific target condition. All right, from there, we go to the obstacle parking lot, that third category of questions. Obstacles should be listed, indicating the one the learner is addressing. Obstacles should be specific, not vague, nor should solutions or lack of solutions be listed. Those aren't obstacles. Obstacles are those things that are specifically in your way to achieving your target pattern of work, your desired pattern of work. We like to see the connection right up here to the pattern of work, not just the metric, because otherwise we don't want to be just chasing a metric. We want to be chasing a very specific desired pattern of work. Then we come up here to the PDSA cycle record. And this is where the learner would list the steps that they've either taken or they're planning to take, listing one step at a time, listing what they expect to happen and to learn from that step. Then they would record what actually happened. And then the most important part of the entire storyboard, they would answer the question, what did they learn from taking that step? And that, in those categories of information, recorded on their PDSA cycle records. And the biggest thing I look for around the PDSA is that it is specific to addressing an individual obstacle, and that obstacle is specific to achieving our desired pattern of work. So again, as a master coach, a second coach, a coach, even a learner looking at their PDSA, their obstacle, and their desired pattern of work, they should be able to identify this triangle. Again, one of the things I always think about looking for this connection is that obstacles are what we really PDSA against. We don't PDSA directly to achieve our target condition. Rather, we recognize our obstacles, we pick one, and we experiment to overcome that obstacle to allow us to achieve our desired pattern of work at our process metric value to give us our outcome, which is related to our challenge, and propel us forward. The last piece over here in the bottom right, this is an area that we like to see reserved for coaching and PDSA tracking information. So we have a couple of forms we use here, but in general, what this does is it tracks how frequently are coaching cycles occurring, and how long are they taking. We like to think they take 15 minutes, and we want to know, is that really what's happening? We also keep track of, are we doing second coaching, feedback between the second coach and the coach? And again, if so, how long is that taking? We'd like it to see about 15 minutes, sometimes more, sometimes less, but we for sure want to see that it's occurring. Another thing we track is the learner, that they're doing daily PDSAs, or at least tracking how frequently they are based on their work schedule, and how long are they spending in that PDCA cycle or doing the experiment, the actual doing the D part of PDSA. And we'd like that to be about 30 minutes, and we can track that in this portion of the storyboard. And then the last item we track is how long, first of all, is the learner spending time reflecting, the S part, and then acting on what they learned, the A part. And so that's what we call reflection. And we want to see a learner spending typically 15 minutes a day doing reflection on what did we actually learn, what's my next step, having learned that, and updating the storyboard with any new metrics, any changes to their current pattern of work, any new status on their process characteristics, so that they're ready for the next coaching cycle. And so in a nutshell, this is what I kind of look for when I step into or up to a storyboard. And I thought you may find this useful and interesting. Anyway, thank you for your time, and I'll be back. Take care.